All right, so for the YouTube people out there, League number 2, running through some Esper FrogTide. Trying out the White Splash for Prismatic Ending, Ketramose, Orm's Chant, Pest Control. This is a list mostly by ZKG in the Control Freak Discord, so if you wanted to come join the Discord and talk to them directly about the list, you're more than welcome to hit exclamation Discord and chat and come hang out. Other than that, really just trying Orm's Chant for like the Eldrazi matchup. It also comes in the any of the combo matchups, but against Eldrazi specifically, you're really interested in Orm's Chant being like consigned to memory 5 through whatever. Kind of get down a Frog, get down a Murktide, Ketramose, whatever. Have consigns in Orm's Chant is sort of a time walk, fog style effect just to buy you an extra turn, getting another attack in with Frog, get another attack in with Murktide, Ketramose, whatever. And then again, decks like Storm, the Belcher decks, anything like that, it's coming in to try to disrupt combo and just buy you a little bit of time. Hopefully, the main board Prismatic Ending Ketramose package does a good job of giving us some extra life, a little extra interaction utility against the aggressive red decks out there. All right, let's hop in. And I think somebody might have said last time that the Discord link wasn't working. So if somebody tries that out and it doesn't work for whatever reason, let me know and I can update that real quick. So if I have a lot of blue-black in my local meta, would you justify me running 1 to 2 Teferi in the sideboard? I mean, you can. I think you'd probably be better served with something else, like Mystical Disputes, still really good into the mirror. But if you're just like on this kick, like I want to run Teferi, then sure, go run Teferi. All I'm saying is we played against Blue White Control like 3 rounds ago, and they had Teferi and lost. So I would not call Teferi like a lights out card in basically any matchup. Oh boy. Why am I running into Blue White Control a bunch today? Speaking of Teferi and getting an opponent who played Azorius Control, yeah, Blue White Control players do just be popping up in leagues sometimes. So no Teferi here. I would like both of these, but obviously, if opponent puts something on the stack that I need to interact with, that takes precedence. It's really impressed me as one of in the board. Talking about you're talking about Jace. I mean, for a lot of the matchups that you're wanting something like Jace out of the board, you kind of have to recognize that they're just decks that are like weak to planeswalkers, period. It being Jace is cool, but at the most, or for the most part, anything in that spot that would get you like incremental value is probably fine and doing like close to the same job. It could be Jace, it could be Tameo, it could be Teferi, it could be basically anything and do like the exact same. Opponent keeps the card on top. Are we at the solitude loop part of the game? Definitely a case of the game one wrong halves, just seeing all these removal spells into the blue-white control matchup. Probably could have just like let them resolve the Teferi and gotten some use out of one of these prismatic endings. But I'm sure they have another 3-mana planeswalker here at some point. Counter spell. Teferi gone. All right, what's your next 3-mana planeswalker? Is this a Wrath of Skies? Solitude. A little less exciting. I would love for this frog to survive one turn. What you got? Gets a spell snare. Pretty all right for me. So let's go discard. Guess we'll just go ahead and jump the frog. See if we can attack into this Narset. Okay. It's a pretty good one to hit. We do know about this spell snare on their side, though, so I'm going to have to find an answer to that at some point. I was really hoping they'd be nice and just fire up this Hall of the Storm Giants. Sorry, Hall of Storm Giants. Let's go ahead and Fatal Push Kahira. Don't think it really matters. So if they want to attack with Solitude, they gotta tap it and gain one less life. Yep. Okay. Am I just jamming that or... FrogTide is a lot better into like a top deck prismatic ending or Wrath the Skies. Frog is a lot better at just getting this spell snare out of hand. Let's play out the Merc. This also does potentially give me lethal next turn with just exile to the frog and attack in. It's worse if they have like a Supreme Verdict here. So Spell Snare, unknown, unknown. We do have like Counter Spell, Solitude, Force Spell Snare. 5. They don't have enough mana for another Counter Spell. So I think we should be okay. You don't fly or have reach. I think blocking this is pretty free. Is this a... I know I'm going to spend something fighting over this. I guess realistically, I don't care, right? Because even if they exile an Orum's Chant and they go to cast it on my upkeep, I have Force plus Counterspell. So I think I'm just going to let them have this. Or what happens if I just fire off the counter spell? If I go for counter spell, they spell snare me back. And then you get an Isochron Scepter. And if your last card's Orm's Chant, I beat it with Force Negation. Yeah. Nope. We exile. And we jump. And we exile. Ah. Do we learn the lesson, old man? Well, last time I think they were going off top decks. I think it was a little bit different last time. This time we kind of had everything covered. Last time it was like, okay, did they top deck exactly Orm's Chant, Isochron Scepter, Counterspell in like 3 consecutive turns? And they did. Is there anything that I want over Prismatic Ending? Probably not. I know Pending can hit the Planeswalkers, but so can Force and Counterspell and whatnot. Thoughtseize. I think just running it back. Clean little W. Well, we do have an okay matchup into blue-white control. Like having Bowmasters and Frog and that stuff is pretty cool. Especially if they don't just like immediately have the answer to the Frog. That's a lot of pendings. Do you have a stream schedule or is it kind of when you're open? It's mostly just when I'm open. Like, I would love to have a more set stream schedule, but realistically, my work is kind of all over the place, so I don't know a lot of times until last minute if I have something work related to do. Trying to buy a home in Minneapolis and I have to make myself available to make an offer at any moment. Pretty much. Like, the way real estate is, especially from like the agent side, from my side, if you're not available to show a property immediately, that buyer will find someone who is. So a lot of times, like, I have to be available at a moment's notice, or they're just going to go find someone else and be like, all right, well, this person can show me the house. Which is completely understandable from the buyer side because, like, house might not be there tomorrow. Um, or in the case of some, like, I helped my parents sell their house. We listed it. It, like, planned on going live at noon. Um, we had a couple from down the road that asked if they could just come in and see it because it was already technically live, but we weren't going to start showings until noon. They came in and they were like, "We love it. We want to buy it right now, and we'll pay asking price in cash." The contingency being like, "You've got to take it off the market right now." Like, sold. So if you don't make it out there right then, there's a very good chance someone else will. Not gonna lie, I didn't peg you as a real estate guy. I enjoy it. I think, like, I peg myself as a people person. So getting to be the real estate person that, like, spends more time showing properties and less time negotiating contracts. Like, I'll bring in other people so I can go show and help out. That's a little annoying. I was going to put an offer on a home and it got sold while we were touring it. It was unreal. That is nuts. Nuts, but it happens. It happens a lot. Got any secret tricks I can use on a realtor to get prices in cheaper in Michigan? Um, okay, so I'll give you the truth behind a lot of prices on houses. Uh, if you're in the middle of, like, buying a home or anything, you've probably seen a bunch of these, like, goings on about like the NAR lawsuit recently, where people were suing the National Association of Realtors for saying, like, prices weren't as transparent as they thought they should be, all this stuff. Um, and now you've got, like, this movement of buyers that are saying, okay, we're going to buy or sell without any representation because we can save a few dollars. More often than not, you're not actually going to save a few dollars. I hate to be the one to tell you, but all of the prices for, like, listing agents, especially, are negotiated into their original contract. So, more often than not, if you say, as someone who's looking to buy, I don't want to be represented, I'm going to save some money that way, it's probably already negotiated with the sellers that they're going to pay the listing agency a certain percent, and the listing agency is going to turn around and give a certain percent to the buyer's agent, and all they're going to do is keep that full percent. Like, that's not always the case. You can always ask that they reduce the price, since you're not using a buyer's agent. But unfortunately, more often than not, they're not actually going to reduce the price for you. Which isn't how it should be. It's also why I don't work on, like, the listing side. I think things are really sketchy and really stupid on the listing side. I don't want to be involved with that. Um, but that's just how it goes more often than not, is Like the listing agent will have a signed agreement with that seller to sell their property in exchange for 6% of the total price or whatever percent they decide on. And they'll turn around and give 3% to a buyer's agent or buyer's agent's brokerage that brings a qualified buyer to the table. And so that's like that 3% of the six is already earmarked for that purpose. And it's already agreed on that the seller is going to pay the seller's agency 6% when it sells. Like they're not saying we'll give you three and we'll give someone else three. They're saying we will give you 6%. Um, Now, after the lawsuit, there are a higher number of sellers that are just, or listing agents that are just listing for 3% and saying like the buyer side has to fend for themselves. Um, and they'll list for three and say like, oh, the buyers have to ask if they want some amount of compensation. It just gets all really, really dicey and pointless, and it's like asking for a split in a Magic tournament. Like you're going to get banned if your wording is just slightly wrong when you know everybody is doing it. Like you know everybody in that room is asking for splits and negotiating without saying the wrong thing. It is a minefield. It's a huge minefield. And it shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, like you've got buyers that want to save some money, understandable, and you've got sellers that want to make the most amount possible, also understandable. So, but now I will say, and this is my personal opinion as someone who is around real estate transactions a lot, not my opinion as somebody who is trying to actively sell people in the chat a house. I do think having representation is better than not. A lot of times, like, I can directly point to situations where I have saved buyers more than I make in my commission because I know what to look for. And a lot of times, buyers without experience are like, oh, I want to save that money. I don't want to spend it on having some representation. And they end up losing that amount in the long run because they just didn't know what to do. And the listing agent is not your friend in those scenarios. Like the listing agent has a duty, a fiduciary duty to the seller to try to get the most out. They're not going to sit there and tell you everything wrong with the house and what you should be looking for. Oh, that shouldn't be to like scare people away. It should just be like, hey, there's a reason you go to a doctor when you have like a medical emergency instead of trying to save a few dollars. All right, Isochron Scepter is in play. Can we find something to interact? Yeah, I can't do much about the Narset in play. I can at least try to set up for a future turn. Ironically, one of the scenarios where consider would be better than preordain. One of the many. True. All right, we've got a Teferi. And we're just going to go both after the Narset. So even if they have like a Solitude, I can still take it out. Got a little bit of everything, huh? It's Wrath. Wrath is Destroy, so it doesn't deal with Ketramose, but Subtlety does. So am I just going Murktide, Ketramose, like draw into the Ketramose now? Side type, thanks so much for the follow. No. I just go Ketramose, draw into the Murktide now. Play the Murktide. Try to bait this Subtlety. Rakros, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon as well. Sounds like Scooby-Doo saying Rakdos. Rakros, Raggy. Rakros. I guess they're just going to go like Wrath the Skies to Fairy Bounce. So if I let this go, they get my relic. So even if I'm shuffling away, I guess I'm supposed to just draw off this relic and shuffle away the Ketramose. Okay. Yep. Did you miss me starting the league with Esper? You did. But we're only in match 1, so didn't miss too much. How many times did you get flamed already? I don't think I've flamed you yet. I don't think. I gave credit for the list. We did take out the Ashioks. You're right. Opponent's deciding if they want to subtlety my Ketramose. Monumental Hinge. All right, so we know Isochron, no longer Isochron. Subtlety unknown, unknown. I'm going to attack at them and see if maybe I can bait them into just firing off this subtlety. But they know that I have the Murktide, so not surprised. Oh, never mind. What do I know? Lorien revealed. Don't really want you to have 3 more cards. Isochron Scepter. We Spell Snare. So all this just lets me recast my FrogTide. Trying to think if I want to swing in with the Bowmaster token and try to like Bowmaster it, but I don't think that's better than just casting FrogTide here. Should have done it pre-combat. Could have had a little bit of everything. I don't know if he's running Mistrise, but this matchup's incredibly awful if they have it. Well, I don't know either. Haven't seen it games 1 or 2, if they are. Are they normally running a bunch of them or just like 1 or 2? Just the one. Play out this frog. Kind of want to see if I can get them to use this counter spell. So if they go for Gaia Reach, I can just Bowmaster. But we are not going to Gaia Reach. Hinge for an Otawara is pretty sweet. Yep. Cannot currently Otawara. Solitude. Or is this Otawara? All right. Do I draw a card off this? Yes. Yes. Nice. Extra nice. Opponent hit me with the oops. Yeah. Yeah, that one did not go your way, opponent. That one did not go your way. Opponent said, please tell me you didn't draw that counter spell from Ketramose. I said, I had the Bowmaster in hand. The two draws were counter spell and force. So, oof. Would you trade for the Ashioks? A Stern Scolding. I had a Stern Scolding and a Nihil Spellbomb over the Ashioks, and then third Orm's Chant over the third Pest Control, just because I wanted to see it more and try it more. I kind of know what I'm getting for Pest Control. I'd rather see the Orm's Chant and cast them a little bit more. Morongo, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon, or evening, or night, or whatever time it is. Opponent seen a day ago on Amulet Titan. Okay. Just keep this throwback push. Guess I don't need my headphones on if we don't have any music going. I feel bad about the audio issues. I feel like I finally got the Spotify situation solved, and now I got to solve the voice meter potato situation. Go back to ye old banana. All right. What you got? We're both on the mulligan. I didn't even realize I was on the play. Whoops. Lotus Bloom. Hmm. Well, this has gotten significantly worse for me. What are the odds of this frog resolving? Like -7%? Yeah. Are you going to play the 2-drop here? Just like the snare into hard cast Flare of Denial. Yoink. Got the word too. Ugh. Alright, just gonna pass through force this turn, try to, not die. So I'm feeling a flare. Disrupting Shoal for 1. Let my froggy live. They have the flare. I think. Don't think there's anything I can hit. Nope. Okay. At least we can get rid of a lot of these non-blue cards. All these terrible, terrible non-blue cards. Guess I'm bringing in Orm's Chant here. How am I sideboarding into this? Like, I could just go Orm's Chant over 3 Bowmasters. That's probably okay-ish. Pending can hit the 2-drop dudes as well as hit a Lotus. I think I actually kept pending in over push since you can hit Lotus. Yeah, like the instant speed on Fatal Push is definitely relevant. Is being able to hit one of their 2-drops like before they have a chance to flare and not have to tap out on my own turn is nice. I just have like no idea how to evaluate hands like this. They're just going for the hard cast Belcher plan. So I need another blue card. Not gonna lie, these prismatic endings looking some kind of awful here. I guess we do get to Orm's chant, which is pretty funny. If I keep the land, you could have went Murktide and chant on their upkeep. I couldn't because I'd have to exile an extra card or tap an extra land to play the Murktide. It's the same whether the land's in the graveyard or on the battlefield. Can't cast anything this turn. Temeshu Charbelcher. They're ways off of Temeshing back a Charbelcher. And I do have pending. So I think I'm just taking the Belcher. Chase, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is. Blue card. All right. Yeah. I can pay if they've got another copy of Jawari Disruption. Or they just have Flare. Wonder what they would draw that they wouldn't just play out. So I feel like you want to play out your lands here to get to Tameshi. And I have to fight over this because if I don't, I run the risk of them just getting back the Belcher right away. But I can let it go now because I've got Prismatic Ending. Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog. Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog. No. Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog, Murktide Frog. Would settle for a Ketramose. Any value in fetching to thin? Probably fine. Like, I'm a little hesitant to fetch anytime with them having Whir of Invention in their deck. Because, like, if I just get caught with a fetch on the stack and, like, Whir plus piece of interaction and I can't interact enough, then there's always the chance of just, like, getting blown out right there. Yeah, this is their or my turn. Stock up. That seems excessive. All right. No more Undercity sewers? Nah, just one sewers, one archive. I think at this point I'm going to start holding lands for Frog. Reveals Goblin Char Belcher and Sink into Stupor. You are so incredibly late to the party. Oh, it's a 2-drop while it's out. Ah, forgot. And I know I wouldn't draw a card off exiling it. But I can't afford to tap off of Force Negation when they have a Char Belcher plus a Sink. So I'm never tapping 2 to go for this Thunder Trap Trainer anyway. Nope. Just need to find a threat. Truly the Dimir FrogTide way. Guess we should keep in a couple more Bowmasters over some of those Prismatics next time. What do we got? It's fine on the draw. Don't think I've played versus Blue Belcher actually on the 75, only red. Yeah, red's a whole lot easier since they're more all in. If you just have like that first spell snare, first force, it can often just buy you like a few turns. Yeah, Harbingers are really good against them. My trophy match I had on Sultai a couple days ago was against Mono Red Belcher, and game 2 was Harbinger when they were at like 17 life, and that Harbinger killed them. The only things they cast from then on out were like a Char Belcher and 2 copies of Defense Grid. Ever since Belcher started running a few stock up, they're hard to grind out. Yeah, the matchup's not bad if you're able to like find Thoughtseize into Frog turn 1 and 2, or Frog into Force or something. But as soon as you miss out on that, you fall really behind really quick. I'm just going to play out a Relic here. Try to save like Frog plus Force with Preordain next turn. That wasn't in your hand. All right, let's think. If I go Thoughtseize them down to 7, play Frog, I could discard up to 3 to the Frog. That doesn't save me from the Brawler. So I'm probably going to have to just take a hit. Otherwise, play out the frog. What does that look like? Play out the frog. Don't do anything else and pass. Lose to Leyline Binding. Have force. I could discard 5 cards into the frog to eat the Neshoba Brawler. I could cycle, but then I'm still down the land. I feel like I'd rather just save it in hand. Take this. Force you. Now, aren't we glad we didn't cycle this relic? We'll play it out now, because now I do want to cycle and get an extra card. Prage no top deck flames. Prage no top deck. God. Ugh. You mold to 5. You shouldn't have Neshoba Brawler into Ragavan into double tribal flames. It's all ZKG's fault. Can't believe you would curse me this way. I swear I manifest that every time it happens to me. Well, I had several people in chat get on to me for like saying, all right, well, all I got to do is dodge X. And then they always have X. So apparently it's just bad luck. It's a lot of chance. It is a lot of chance. Will not argue at that point. Nose itching. Well, half the time I'll just come up with some like absurd lineup. Like, oh, I lose to this random thing that nobody would ever think of. And then they have that random thing nobody would ever think of. And all I can do is be like, ah, well, dang. It's got turn 2 Ravioli. Awkward spot to be in. Like, I can just play out the Harbinger, but then Ragavan's hitting. Double Ragavan. Oh. Go away. What? I need to get this Ketramose down. All right. If the question is, am I? The answer is yes. Do you have the basic? Have you been sandbagging it? I played patient with this Harbinger. Did you play base or patient with the basic? Did not. Luck was on our side. I think I'm going to cut down to one Harbinger on the draw. Bring back in the Thought Seizes because it is a way to answer Scion. Usually give me good advice. Should I play in Pauper either Call Gates, Mono Blue Fae, or Mono Blue Terror? I will say I play Mono Blue Terror. I don't know anything about the other decks. I just happen to like own everything for the Terror deck, so I decided to play that. Why are you fetching and shocking for a Sacred Foundry to play a Ragavan with a Leyline out? What? Just in case? Well, the just in case would be get a basic planes. Get a basic to play the Ragavan if you're gonna do that. Just makes like no sense to get a Sacred Foundry. Unless they're on basic forest, basic. No, if they're on basic forest, basic plains, you still just get the basic plains. If they're on like basic mountain, basic something else, I don't know. It's a mana base I haven't seen. They're on basic swamp, basic mountain, obviously. You're right. Foiled out all Japanese terror deck player here. That's, what does that cost you? Like $63? My pauper deck's over there somewhere. Mine is not foil, nor is it Japanese. It'd be so great if I had a an answer here. Or so great if I had like a Harbinger here and you just make this a 1/1. Exiling my Prismatic Ending. Did we just oops into a win? Tell me we just oopsed into a win. I need this in my life. Opponent doesn't want none of these Harbingers. Love it. Fetch but didn't get them basics. That's what I'm saying. Like, why not just get the basics? Maybe they were playing around me sinking to stupering the Leyline binding. What is with all these Kahira decks too? It's the third blue-white control match today. Thank God. If I'd missed that land drop, I was going to be so sad. At that point, just don't fetch until the sink is on the stack, though. I mean, you can fetch before the sink if you plan on tapping out every turn. I just think there's like zero reason or benefit to fetching out like a sacred foundry instead of just fetching a basic plains. Or I think they had a wooded foothills there and could have fetched a basic forest if they had one. See if you want to fight over this. Teferi, not Teferi. Land? Not land. I see like a Lorien revealed out of them. Damn you, basic swamp. Just the bane of my entire existence. I curse everything you stand for. Like, it's so bad. I feel like I would win so many more matches if Basic Swamp had just never been printed in the game of Magic. Like, you know what would be really cool here? Play Murktide. Hold up Counterspell. Might not get me anywhere, but at least I could. One, two, three, four. Trying to cast this Murktide as small as possible because I'm assuming they're going to have an answer for it. And I'd rather put my stock into the bigger Murktide to follow it up. If they go like Orm's Chant plus Solitude, this is fantastic for me. Deal. That Murktide is exiled. Thoughtseize off the top. I believe. No, it's not quite Thoughtseize, but I guess. I guess we'll suffer through that. Prismatic ending. That's kind of rude. All right, might as well hit Narset because even if I hit them and they hit hit me with Solitude, they're adding a turn back onto the clock. So doesn't make a lot of sense. Go away. Already dealt with Kahira, so that one doesn't matter so much. Hopefully they're just drawing all prismatic endings and nothing else. Die to the solitude. What a bowmaster. Damn it. It's just a cheap shot, Moto. Castle Ardenvale is wild. Another Solitude, or is this a Wrath of Skies full mana? Okay. Please survive. For like 12 turns. Like opponent, my hand is truly awful. I think playing out another frog does anything for me right now. Just sets me up to get blown out by another wrath. Take to the air, little frog. I think I'm playing this out just because it can be a redraw. It's not a pretty redraw, but redraw nonetheless. You believe? Glad somebody does. Believe we're going to shoot down this token, maybe. Nope. All right, main deck, Stern Scolding. Go, go, power frog, go. Yep. What do y'all think? Are we going all in on the frog if they pass back? Thank you, opponent, for making my life easier. Opponent's a real MVP. Don't even have to think about whether or not I was going to go all in on the frog. Anxiety levels down exponentially. Like, just straight Chad OP. Like, oh, what if you just didn't have to worry about going in on the frog? What if I just gave you the answer? Was the door about to close on us? We kind of had like 2 turns. So we could have chosen not to go all in. Okay. Please don't force a negation me. You love pending now? I wouldn't say all the time. I did say before I started the league that I think pending is a reason to go Esper. I don't think Ketramose is like a reason to. You will, but I don't think it's like the draw to Esper. I think I'm going for Ketramose here. Just like play out Ketramose, have force backup. Like, okay. I still get to draw a card. I get Solitude out of hand. Find another Ketramose. And now we're just ripping Harbinger. We can get a Surveil first and then. Sure. Isn't Ketra better? Well, if they answer Ketramose, then like they can still cast stuff. Like, what if they resolve it to Fairy here? Is that better for me? Or is getting Harbinger down and just like locking them out of the game with a clock? And I've got Bowmaster in hand. I got the frog I know about on top. I've got Relic redraw. They could, I guess, hit a Narset. Opponent last seen 14 days ago on Boros Energy. I don't know that they're on Boros, but I kind of feel like Prismatic Ending's relatively useful into most of the field as we proceed to get Murktided. Main deck consigned to memory. I'll take, I'm not really sure what's going on for 400, Alex. Okay. Could be weird reanimator. It could be anything your heart desires. Working signs. It's a weird looking Goryo's deck they got there. Is Goryo's Oculus a thing? Wait, it is a thing. All right, that's a blue card to pitch to force. I don't know, like, I really don't think this is Goryo's. I could be wrong, but I'm just not seeing that being the case here. But hey, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Probably just a tilted Murktide player. Just a Murktide player who has seen one too many Eldrazi in the last few days. That I also respect. I have been in those shoes. All right, let's see if we get to draw into a fifth land to just go like Prismatic, Hardcast, Force. That's also reasonable. We could also go like, or we could have gone Prismatic on the Frog. Prismatic on the Frog, and then Relic our own Prismatic. But I kind of feel like it's not going to matter that much. Yeah. Oh, look, he's drawing you cards. I see you don't have enough cards over there. Would you care for some more? Why, yes, quite. You seem a bit famished on options. I'm going to board out a pending. Pending's like pretty bad into force negation. Force negation into FrogTide. I feel like I played against this opponent at some other time pretty recently. Like, recognize the name. Seems reasonable. And opponent's on a mulligan. Should have thought it or started on Flooded Strand here. So I could get basic swamp in case they are on Harbinger. So I should keep that in mind. I probably do want to get basic swamp at some point, regardless. They've got Frog and Unearth. But they don't have a way to deal with a Ketramose at the moment. They find a Murktide. Okay. Void Invoker. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Or evening, morning, whatever time. All right. We're just gonna jam this Ketramose. Um, I would like to shock. Hope this isn't too much life loss here, but I kind of want the extra black source. Especially since I kind of need to like resolve a frog in exile to be able to attack with Ketramose. Take it. Play out this frog. Not playing out the frog. Well, I can't stun Merc because I can't get the Kaitooooo into play. I can't attack with the Ketramose because it's not online. So I kind of have to play for next turn. I'm pretty sure if I go for this frog, they're just going to spell snare it. I can't imagine they let it resolve. Yep. But this gives me a chance of like hitting 5th land Kaitooooo plus spell snare if they have a counter spell. Or if they just have like cast FrogTide or cast their own frog here. Go away, fly. I don't imagine a world where this Kaitooooo resolves. Never mind. What do I know? Magic's easy. Please don't bowmaster me. Okay. I was so confused for a second. Like not seeing anything that go away, fly. Like it's not even a fly, it's like a little gnat that's just like swarming around. Kind of going for the high roll Oculus in the yard. This is such a weird game. So I want to tick up Kaitooooo so that I can stun Merc again next turn. see. Cosmotar, thank you so much for the follow. And Imdan00, missed yours, but thank you so much as well. Did I miss Pie on the raid? Holy shit, I didn't even get a notification. Pie, my bad. Don't hate me, please. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everybody. It's the joy of having to, like, turn your head to see notifications. My bad. I promise I'm not sitting here ignoring. I hope you had an awesome stream. I saw you were playing some Mono Red Belcher. How'd that go? It was a terrible experience. Fair. Very, very fair. I kind of feel like they've got a hard cast Oculus and they don't want to hard cast it for fear of just turning my Ketramose online. Did you say Mono Red Gaming? No, nobody said that. Nobody uttered those words. You're making it up. It's all in your head. What did Pie play? Mono Red Belcher. But not the Mono Red you're thinking of. Like, the Mono Red that's not Mono Red. Just Harbinger of the Seas. I am going to counterspell because I don't have much else to do here. That's a good one. So let's go ahead and stun down the Merc. Just to have that out of the way. Play a frog. Draw some cards. Get our Ketramose online. All right. I think we should be okay from here. He said optimistically. Got a frog. Shoot your frog. If you want to shoot my frog, that's okay. Nope. All right. End up with a 4-1 there. What was that loss to? Was that loss to the first blue-white? No. What was that loss to? Belcher, that's right. Good call. So we beat Blue White twice. We beat Dimir. We lost to Belcher. And we beat something. I don't know why I can't remember these matchups this league. Blue White, Belcher, Blue White again, Dimir, and Zoo. Yeah, we harbingered out Zoo. Um, I hate that we're not seeing like the aggressive red decks. Where's the prowess and the Boros that we're supposed to be running into? Where Ketramose is supposed to really shine. Still good against blue white control, but I want to see like the better lifelink build or lifelink carrying decks. You know what I mean? That game, that last game has been my experience with Ketramose a lot of the times in these Esper shells is you get the Ketramose down, then you're like, all right, well, I don't have a relic or a frog or a Murktide, and I've just got this Ketramose sitting here, like not actually doing anything. And that always gets me weary a little bit. I wish there was another good playable thing that cared about exiling. Um, but like something that you don't have to sacrifice part of the rest of the deck for. Like, I don't know, a 2 mana counter that exiled or something like that. There was definitely some awkward points between Relic and Murktide where you can't like proactively just pop your Relic in case you draw into a Murktide. The Psychic Frog Ketramose synergy is always cool. Prismatic ending was really good. Cling to Dust could be it. Cling to Dust is pretty fun with Ketramose. Since instead of like Relic where you uh, tap Relic, exile something, sack Relic, exile again. Uh, with Cling, you can cast it, exile something, draw, escape Cling, exile again off of the cast to escape, and then you target something and draw a third card. So like it's more expensive than Relic, but it's got more synergy with Murktide than Relic does. So maybe Cling is the answer. But I still think like Ketramose is cool, don't get me wrong. I still think Prismatic Ending is like the reason to go white if you want to go the Esper Splash. We didn't really see any Orm's Chant matchups except for Belcher. Um, but we just couldn't find threats against Belcher. Harbinger, great. Consign, didn't really see Eldrazi. We didn't see any pest control matchups. I hate that. I feel like we're geared in to beat or try to beat Prowess and Boros, and we don't see those. We're okay, but you can definitely feel the percentage points you're giving up against like blue white when you're on all of these 8 1 mana removal spells and sorcery speed 3 drops. But it was a cool league.